It is late Tuesday, July 9th, and this is the latest information on Tropical Storm Chantal. As of the latest advisory, maximum sustained winds are still 65 miles per hour, although I do expect those winds to come down a little bit within the next one or two advisories. Nonetheless, we still have tropical storm warnings and even hurricane watches in effect for portions of the Hispaniola coast. We're still expecting a direct landfall along Hispaniola by 2 p.m. on Wednesday. And as we work our way into the afternoon hours on Thursday, the center of circulation is expected to re-emerge back over open water, this time in the southwest Atlantic, and tropical storm watches and warnings are already in effect for the central and southern half of the Bahamas. Now, as we work our way into the latter half of the week into early next weekend, we're going to expect more of a northwest bend in the track, placing the center just east of Florida, and some model members are showing a turn back towards the west into the Florida coast, whereas you have other model members that continue the north-northwest motion more so towards Georgia and the Carolinas. The 12Z ensemble runs of the Canadian CMC model show a progressive movement towards the northwest without much in the way of a bend towards the west until it starts to move north of Jacksonville. So by the time it does start to make that westerly turn, it's already doing so more so into the Carolinas rather than, say, Daytona Beach or Miami, Florida. Meanwhile, the 12Z ensemble run of the GFS is more westerly in the short term, which places southern Florida more so under the gun from a potential tropical depression or tropical storm once it exits the high terrain of Hispaniola and Cuba, but the storm continues to move north thereafter after impacting southern Florida, so we still see a track into the Carolinas in the medium range. The 18Z run of the tropical model suite is basically a combination of the two scenarios, with half of the model suite going into Florida, with the other remaining half staying just offshore, paralleling the Florida coastline up until the time the storm makes landfall across Georgia and South Carolina. This evening's satellite presentation of Chantal looks rather poor. As you can see, some of those low-level banding features associated with the circulation at the surface appears to be outrunning some of the stronger convection, which is lopsided towards the east of the center of circulation, and the latest enhanced infrared also reveals that some of the strongest convection is beginning to diminish. The main problem today is that the storm is continuing to race towards the west too quickly at roughly 25 to even sometimes almost 30 miles per hour, and it's almost impossible for tropical cyclones to maintain their structure in the deep tropics when they're moving that far towards the west that quickly, and the trade winds are really helping to tear this system apart, not to mention it's starting to catch up with an upper level low that is situated over the Bahamas, and as it approaches that upper level low, it's going to start to feel the effects of mid to upper level westerly flow, which is going to help to shear off the upper end of the storm in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, and you can start to see those cloud cover features in the mid to upper levels starting to streak from southwest to northeast, which is an indication that the upper level environment is becoming less favorable compared to what it was 24 hours ago. The regional water vapor animation confirms that Tropical Cyclone Chantal is moving a little quicker than what was otherwise shown by the models over the last couple of days, and this does not bode well for the tropical storm because that means it's also catching up to the upper level low that is situated over southern Florida and Cuba. And just to the east of this upper level low, you can see that the westerly winds are streaking across Jamaica and Hispaniola, so the narrow pocket of marginally favorable upper level winds is beginning to shrink with time, and we're also starting to see the intensity models begin to back down with their forecast even once the storm reemerges from Hispaniola, and it still remains to be seen how much is going to be left of the storm once it starts to clear the mountains. This is a current view of the low-level steering flow, and we can see that Tropical Storm Chantal remains embedded within the strong low-level easterlies to the south of the powerful Atlantic subtropical ridge, so it's not much of a surprise that the storm is hauling towards the west at almost 30 miles per hour. And when you compare that to the moderate westerly flow in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, that's what's really accounting for the westerly vertical wind shear that's really beginning to affect Tropical Storm Chantal, and you can see that the westerly shear only increases as the storm approaches Hispaniola and eastern Cuba. The following is the 12Z run of the operational ECMWF model. You can see the western Gulf of Mexico here, along with the Caribbean, and of course Tropical Storm Chantal moving across the Lesser Antilles as of 12Z this morning. And then as we fast forward into the 24-hour forecast, it's approaching the Dominican Republic. As we work our way into Thursday morning, it's already moving across the southern Bahamas and really not showing too much in the way of any intensification. Even at this point, it's really nothing more than a very broad area of low pressure or a very minimal tropical storm based on this run. just to the east of West Palm Beach as we go into Friday morning. And the European is a little more northerly than the model consensus as we go into Saturday and Sunday. The storm is making landfall near Wilmington, North Carolina. This is the 18Z run of the American GFS model, and this is a look at the 500 millibar mid-level steering. And as we go into the next 24 to 48 hours, you will notice that the upper level low near southern Florida is in no real rush to go anywhere. And that is in stark contrast to Tropical Storm Chantal, which is already across the central Bahamas by this time. And due to the very close proximity of the two features, this is going to help to induce more of a northerly motion up the eastern side of Florida, and the GFS is trending a little bit more so towards the north today compared to yesterday, and it's a little bit more so in line with the European, but just not quite far that north into Wilmington, but rather more so towards Charleston, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia. So as it stands right now, the primary threat over the next 48 hours will be the threat of torrential rainfall across the central and eastern Caribbean, especially out across Hispaniola, since that area is highly vulnerable to flooding and loss of life due to flooding along with mudslides. Thereafter, it looks as though a minimal tropical cyclone could threaten the southeast United States anywhere from Florida through the Carolinas this upcoming weekend, and as of right now it looks as though it's going to be a fairly weak system, but we still don't want to discount the threat, especially this far out, and we will have to closely monitor how this system will be looking once it clears Hispaniola. But if anything, the trend is on the positive side compared to this time 24 hours ago, but we still have plenty of time to monitor Tropical Storm Chantal, and we hope that you continue to follow our daily discussions here at 28storms.com, along with our videos and also the Facebook updates, which are also accessible on the left-hand side of the front page of the website.